All right, where's my icebreaker question? There we go. So, question for you all while we were waiting to let people in is if you knew how to handle every objection out there, how many more appointments would you book? What's up, Nikki? I'll let me get you co-host, but yeah. So yeah, icebreaker question. If you knew how to handle every objection out there, how many more appointments would you book? I don't want just everyone. Okay. I don't want everyone because here's the truth. You won't get every appointment ever, right? But if you think about it, not Carly says 90%. I like that. I like that. Nikki, I'm gonna let you. There you go.
Good morning. Thank you.
We don't make so like I'll have to ask you to unmute each time because I learned from a couple other things about people like taking over Zooms, and we actually had someone try to do it. And I was like, if I had a guest with co-hosts, they would have given them access. So I was like, okay, from here on out, I'll just have them unmute so I don't ever risk it. Yeah. So Lauren says 95%. I like it. 90%. So what would that look like, Lauren? So if you were converting at 95%, right? 95% more appointments. How many appointments is that actually looking like? Letting everybody in. Again, as soon as we hit five after, we will officially begin. I like it. So again, for everybody coming in, I know I'm letting you all in as fast as I can. So how many more appointments would you book if you could handle any objection? And remember, handling an objection doesn't guarantee a closing, right? People will still make the decisions they make. You're just eliminating the fact that it's not your fault. Just deciding for themselves what works best versus you not being capable, right? Lauren, currently, you have one appointment a week now. So then if you're handling these objections like a pro, would that double your appointments? Would it be two appointments a week? Would it be three? Two, three, I like it. Okay. So the reason why I'm having you guys do this exercise is that those appointments, right? That's what leads to sales, right? Those are the things that we can control much better. We can't control closings. There's far too many parties involved when it comes to a closing, but we can control how we communicate with others. We can control these objections. It's part of why I brought the queen here today of objections, Nikki, because I mean, I've listened to her on some of, she does live calls, by the way. I've listened to some of her live calls. I've seen her handle objections live on stage. Um, and then even just when her and I have did the strategy call for this, I was just like, yeah, we got to get Nick in here. She's amazing. All right. Welcome, everybody. It's still coming in. Wow, we just had like 10 more people join. I love it. I'm so glad you guys are here. This is one of the best calls you could ever come to, and it'll lead to even better calls. So I'm excited. All right. So it is five after on my screen. I respect your time. You respect my time. And we all have a great time. Oh, I should keep that. That's a good line. I gotta keep that one. All right. So this is for all the agents who maybe are struggling to convert leads who are always busy. How are they always busy, by the way? Can anybody, like, seriously, how are they always busy? They're too busy to do the thing that they said is their main focus. Get out of here. Or maybe you're just unsure of what to say to leads that already have an agent, but don't actually. By the way, like most of the time when people say that, they're not telling you the truth, just so you know. Or just in a general sense, maybe you want to be able to handle pretty much every objection imaginable and convert them not just into appointments, but eager appointments. Because objection handling isn't getting through it, right? Okay. Would you call a quality marriage people who just get through the day together? No, you'd be like, that's sad, right? That's not the kind of relationship you want. You don't want clients that just get through it with you. You want them to be excited to work with you. You want them to be excited to be a part of this process. All right. So, first, you have four commitments that you're making when you're on this call. Four commitments. Number one, video on. I see a lot of videos off. Let's get those video on. This is a community of people, not blank screens. And just like with your clients, you can't show up with a blank screen. So get out of here. Okay. Distractions off. I know you are way too smart to show up to a call just to be distracted during it, right? It's okay if things come up, head off. Don't do that to yourself. Focus on the one thing that's most important. If it's this call, then you eliminate those other distractions so you get the most out of this. You don't even understand how powerful Nikki is, okay, to make this time for you. She really is a legend. You guys know I don't bring in subpar leaders, okay? Participate. This is an active call. We're actually going to be doing a very unique call today. It's slightly different than our normal structure because we're going to be going over a lot of objections. We're going to be helping you through objections. So it's going to be extra interactive today. And then my most important rule, the commitment you're making, is to go make someone else's day. Go bless someone else with something you learned today. Legends only. I know. Let's change this call. I want to change the call name to Legends only. That's a great name. All right. So this is the things need to change moment, right? So have you ever sit on a call with a lead who says, we're just looking, and you back off to be polite? You tell yourself you're being respectful. You hang up, and it feels like the right move, right? And then that same lead shows up under contract with someone else. And you're sitting there like, WTF? Like, you, no. And you're just kind of speechless. Look at Nikki. She's like, oh, I'm getting riled up. I'm ready. Come on. Right? Because this is the thing you need to understand. When you realize being nice is actually avoiding the uncomfortableness that growth requires, then success beyond what you imagine is finally accessible. Do you guys understand what I just said there? Right? Most of the time, polite is us moving away from what we know and what we're convicted we need to do. Well, they said they were just looking. Okay. Did you verify that? Did you go through a sequence of events? Right? Nikki, I can keep you on. You could just stay unmuted. Okay. So I want you guys to drop an X in the chat if you can relate to any part of this kind of train of thought or this experience. Drop an X in the chat if you can relate to this. If you can, you've had those moments. Well, you know, they said they had some things going on. They said they were really busy at work. They said that they had all this stuff and their kids' summer schedule was hectic and the back to school was crazy. And now the holidays are here. Right? Anybody relate to this? I know Nikki just private messaged me. She's like, I'm ready, coach. Put me in. Put me in. We're about to get there, Nikki. Don't worry. This is like the warm up for you. Okay. Right. This is the buy-in from everybody. So they know. They know. So now, guys, you know how we do it. Say it with me. Ready? Things need to change. And they did, because here's what happens. Conversation count, so calls over 2 minutes, increase conversion by over 60%. Okay? You guys hear that for a second? Most of you, by the way, aren't even reaching 2 minutes in your conversations. Most of you are not. Okay? How about this? Agents trained to handle early stage objections increase appointments by 45% within just the first 90 days. Put it simply, very fast. Anybody want 45% more appointments in the next 3 months? I'll take them. I'll take them. Let's go. Okay. And then how about this? Reframing, which Nikki is, oh my gosh, flawless at. Increases conversations and how you navigate those conversations by 50%. In other words, everything that you're having gets better. It does. And what's really cool about this, guys, is it doesn't just apply to your business. It applies to all relationships, and conversations. This will apply to how you talk to your spouse. This will apply to your kids next time you go to buy a car. So, what you're learning today isn't just business principles, it's life principles. Because it's not about being pushy, it's about buying time to show them you're worthy of their trust. Oh, Nikki, yeah, you like that one, huh? I worked on that one. I went through so many revisions on that. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. So now we're actually going to get into the first step, and Nikki's going to jump in with us. So the first step is to buy time first, essentially, right? We're just kind of breaking the ice. And so now, Nikki, I'm going to go over these with you, and I kind of want you to jump in. I put some bullet points together. I did heavy research, by the way. I know we did our strategy call, but I went and watched extra videos of yours because you are amazing. So first of all, how did I kind of summarize it well, kind of leading into the importance of getting this 2 minute conversation?
So ultimately, y'all, here's the truthiest truth, okay? Every top agent, regardless of what market you are in, regardless of what area or team you are a part of, the top market has one thing in common, the top agent, forgive me, with every other top agent. It is that they have the most number of touches per lead. They have the most number of touches per lead. And so when Robert and I tell you, hey, by the way, if we could get past some of that stuff, it would result in more closings. It's because the top agent is talking to their leads the most. And every other agent who is fearful and says, I'm afraid of bothering them, well, the top agent is thinking, what happens if I don't talk with them? What happens if I can't overcome this thing that they said? What happens if I don't ask the right question? Okay. So that being said, our goal today is to say, how many more people can we capture to get to 2 minutes so that you are happy with your pipeline, right?
I love it. So a couple bullet points I extracted, and Nikki, I want you to share a little bit more about where I landed on these, right? Because I'm learning with you guys, right? I feel like I'm pretty good at handling objections. I feel like I've always been, even when I was a little kid, I was always really good at it. I don't know why, right? But then I was watching Nikki and I was like, nope, I got a long way to go. I got a lot of growth. So this is some of what I learned as I'm trying to grow right alongside you guys, right? I'm not coming in here saying I'm the expert. I'm coming in here with the expert and saying, here's what I'm learning. So one thing I learned that was really important from Nikki is don't argue. Don't argue with people. Now, who's guilty? Who's guilty? You argue about politics on Facebook. You argue about the for sale by owner, and you try to hit them with the, well, you always leave money on the table. You start arguments. Now, a lot of times it might come from a genuine place. You might even be factually correct. But as it says here, don't ask to ask, just move forward. Move past this argument. When you feel it bubbling, oh my gosh, you know you need to just move past it, right?
So specifically, here's the deal, y'all. When you get that, I can't talk right now. I'm busy. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of something. Call me later. I want to remind y'all, every single one of those people is lying to you. They're all lying. Because when you can't pick up the phone, you don't. That's the truth. You can't pick up, you do not at all. So what has happened is they're thinking, it's you? I didn't know it was going to be you. And now that they know that it's you, they're ready to get out. So the mistake that we make is that we say, okay, when should I call you back? Mistake. So instead, we're going to change that altogether. Since we know that they're lying, you would use one of these two phrases. And you would say, okay, well, before I let you go, and you would ask another question. Or you'd say, all right, well, while I have you, and you'd ask another question. What should that next question be? It depends on where they interrupted. But if it's at the beginning like that, 9 out of 10 times, I'm saying, okay, well, before I let you go, were you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? And I'm going to ask every question as though they did not just say they couldn't talk. And I cannot tell you how many times 30 seconds turns into 7 minutes, 13 minutes. We're setting an appointment with somebody who said that they could not talk. Okay, that's what the value of those two phrases are. Now,
Guys, are you listening though? Are you listening to what she just said? Most gurus won't tell you that because they're too afraid to offend people. Okay, they're too afraid to tell you the truth. So they'll let you keep believing the lie. But what Nikki just told you there is said, listen, is raise your hand if you deal with honest people. Are you an honest business? Are you trustworthy?
We deal with honest people for sure.
Hello? Come on. I see some hands not up. Hands up. Are you an honest person? Do you run an honest business? Of course you do. If you're not, get out of this call or take this call and use it as church, okay? Listen, you don't teach your clients that lying is acceptable then. You don't do that. It's okay if you don't work with them, but you do not allow lies to be a part of your relationship with anyone. Doesn't mean you have to be a jerk. Nikki wasn't a jerk about it, but she understood the truth and she respectfully moved right past it, said, we're not playing this lying game. It's okay. I'm going to pull you out of it. And what she did is so brilliant. She's pulling them away from lying and she's pushing them towards whatever the real truth is. Okay? So powerful. So powerful. Okay, Nikki, I know I cut you off, but it's so profound that you say that.
And team, here's what I'll have you write down if you're taking notes along the way. If they bring it up a second time, it's true. And then we let them go. I really cannot talk right now of their own accord. I do not remind them. And I know you needed to go. You'll never hear me repeat the objection. Okay. If they bring it up on their own a second time, then we say, okay, when would it make sense for me to give you a shout back? Right? As a little asterisk, as a bonus note, because I know we have a lot to get through today, but let's say that your lead tells you, yeah, call me next month or call me next week. And you're thinking, no, that's too far out. I didn't want to hear that answer when I asked. Here is my response back. I say, perfect, Robert, I'll make that plan to reach out to you next month. If I think of something we should have talked about today or I did not ask you, I'll reach out sooner. Otherwise, plan to hear from me next month, which is to say, I'll follow up with you this afternoon if I think it makes sense. Yes, that's our go. Okay, let's go to the next thing. How many of you have heard your lead say, I'm just looking, I'm just browsing, I'm not serious right now, I'm just dreaming? Every single one of you, hands are up. Yes. Yes. Team, I want to remind you of something, okay? That is not an objection. That is a green flag. That is a green flag. If you catch them later in the process, just looking is just bought. All right? I'm not serious right now as I somehow managed to get under contract. I've closed. I'm with an agent. So when you hear these things, you're going to change your mind frame altogether and say, oh, thank God I got on the phone with them right now. Every homeowner started by looking. So we're going to start to see that as a green flag, and you're going to turn that into the question, okay? So somebody says, I'm just browsing. I say, beautiful, what are you browsing for? Somebody says they're looking. I say, awesome, what has you looking? I'm just dreaming. Let's get you a list worth dreaming over. You're going to start using that word as the reason to stay on the phone, okay?
My goodness. I just want to sit back and just, I feel like I'm in the pews at church just listening to the preacher. Let's go. Like, this is why I brought you, Nikki, because I love you so much. You are so good at what you do. Um, you know, one of the things that I look for too, right, is you wouldn't let anyone else leave your client hanging, right, guys? You wouldn't let anyone else leave your client hanging. A lender, a title company, another agent. You don't just let other people leave them unanswered. You drive the conversation. You push for it. So when you don't do what Nikki's showing you, you're letting them kind of, in a way, drift farther out to sea. Right? They need you to be their anchor so desperately.
And
Okay?
another agent who is hungrier right now and needs the closing and is desperate to figure it out is going to end up on the phone with that lead and they'll work around it. That's the truth. So where you might think that you were being polite by letting them go and not asking a stronger question, the person who is willing to ask the question is the one who's going to close. And
Yeah.
I want to remind y'all, if they hate the conversation, they can hang up. That's the choice. At any point,
Ooh.
if the conversation sucks, it could be over. And so as long as you're talking to them, you have all the opportunity to turn that thing around.
Oh my gosh. Nikki, how do you even come? Guys, like, seriously, how many of you have hung up on a telemarketer? Okay. So what Nikki just said, you are living proof that she's not lying to you. She's not just saying random things that sound edgy, right? You guys know if it's not of interest to you, if you believe there is nothing to gain, you will hang up so fast. You guys don't even make it to 30 seconds with most of these telemarketers, right? They ask if it's your name and you go, "Oh, not interested." Right? So you know what she's saying is true because you're living proof. You're the client, right? So repeat after me real quick because I just want to start you guys to start say these words out loud, okay? All right, you ready? Okay. Before I let you go.
So,
Everybody say that out loud. Say it again if you need to. Okay. Before I let you go. This is not something you're accustomed to saying, so you actually need to start hearing yourself say those words so you know they're real and you can actually say this. You can actually do this. Okay, great questions. Theron, keep dropping them in. Anybody else, you got questions? We're going to have plenty of time for Nikki. We made sure. This is why I'm doing a much different thing today, okay? So then we get into the reframing the objection. Now, you kind of already started this, Nikki, what reframing is, but I thought we could touch upon it because one thing I noted down was most objections aren't real, just reflexes, right? So if they say, I'm not interested, and then I used an example there, but do you want to kind of briefly touch on what reframing is, or
yes.
what do you think?
Yes. So two notes here, team. If you're writing down what you're going to say moving forward, here's your answer. Every time someone tells you not interested, nope, I'm not moving. We're all taken care of. I'm all good. Take me off your list. All of those things feel like what? My back's against the wall. I know that feeling. The moment they say it, I'm like, well, what the heck am I supposed to say to that? Here is your magic answer. If I'm lying, I'm dying. It is this. Oh, is that because you already found something? Or are you putting it on the back burner? And Robert can tell you, I was at a conference earlier this year. I'm in front of 1,000 people doing live calls, and I'm not immune to it, y'all. My palms are sweating. I'm getting nervous. First person says, take me off your list. Very first person, live call. And I said, oh, is that because you already found something or are you putting it on the back burner? And she said, yeah, we're back burner. We've had some things change. We stayed on the phone for 7 minutes in front of the whole audience. Okay. The power of you having the sentence prepared is where application wins. And team, you might love the feeling you have after this call, but if you do not use any of it, you're going to be in the exact same place. You're going to wander for your notes and say, yeah, I know there was something I was supposed to say, but if you don't have it memorized, then it's no good to you. That is your get out of jail free card. Okay, is that because you already found something or you're putting it on the back burner? 9 out of 10 people are going to tell you what? Back burner. They're all waiting. They are all waiting, every single one of them. Okay? Which leads you to this. If you're writing along, this is your second sentence. Every single person who says they are waiting is to say, okay, tell you what, I'll continue to send you listings. I only want to show you what you're interested in, and I'll move at your pace. Tell me, are you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? That is the line. That is the line. Okay, perfect. I'll continue to send you listings. I only want to show you what you're interested in, and I'll move at your pace. Tell me, are you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? This is a perfect example of a turnaround. Do you know where most of us drop the ball? They say they're waiting, and you say, why? You say, why are you waiting? And that invites problems. You're saying, tell me all the reasons this cannot work out early in the call. Let's start on the negative image, but I'm going to try to get you back to positivity. We're not going to do that. We're going to stop saying, why is it that you're waiting? Okay, well, what's changed? Bad questions. We're going to reframe and say, okay, we're acknowledging. All right, I'll continue to send you listings. I only want to show you what you're interested in, and I'll move at your pace. Tell me, are you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? Now, the first question is an A or B choice to say which of these is the direction we'll head in when it is the right time. Okay?
Beautiful. You know what's so great about this, Nikki, is one, this is just human psychology 101, right? Like this is, for those of you who have kids, you know what happens when your kid gets hurt and you baby them and you spoil them and you coddle them. They go deeper down, and then all of a sudden, the thing that was just a scratch on a knee becomes a life-threatening injury where they're like, I got to go to the hospital, right? Versus you saying, oh, looks like you got a scratch. Hey, do you want to keep playing on the slide? Right? Move on. Is that where you're at? Now, if there is something serious, you know that through the positive or the more, how about objective, maybe, Nikki? The more objective target that you're going for, it will reveal if there are deep underlying things going on. But you can't find it when you're the one forcing them down the well. When you're the one and they're trying to come up for air and you're like, no, 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 go back down. Go back down in the water. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to drown in everything that is around them. So powerful. So I just gotta get fired up. Nikki, like when we were talking on the strategy call, you and I were like, do. It was great. It was great. Okay, so then just the last slide I have was uncover what's actually stopping them, right? So these were notes that I made. And so like let's kind of get into that, and then we can talk a little bit about maybe even handling some objections. One of the things I was going to have you guys do is now that Nikki's getting you fired up, getting you thinking, is now you can start working through, man, what are some of the objections I'm facing? You do need to be aware. You can't just ignore them. What is coming up? And it might be different for some of you. It might sound a little bit different, phrased a little bit different. But I think we're learning very quickly with Nikki is that it all generally will stem from roughly the same area. And a lot of it will still, you might phrase it differently, but will have very similar responses.
And team, here's my answer for y'all, just so you know. There is a major difference between objections and conditions, okay? Objections and conditions. We are talking about objection handlers
Oh, I
because
have that one.
here is the deal, y'all. Perfect. Perfect. Here's the deal, y'all. The thing about a condition is that a condition must take place. If someone has a credit score of 430, I cannot change that. That must get to a different place unless you are doing all cash, right? But that must get to a different place in order for us to be able to move forward. Okay. Similarly, if somebody has experienced grief, right? Loss of loved ones, health issues, those are conditions. If it is something I can change, that is an objection. If it is something in your ability to change, you're worried about the market, I can fix that. You need a lower interest rate, I can fix that, right? All of the things that are within our control, those fall into objection. It is your job to discover whether it's an objection or a condition, because the words bad credit do not inherently fall to one side. That's an adjective right now. I need to know if you think bad credit is a 630, which I've had people say a 650, not knowing as the general consumer that when actually you go through the home lending process, you don't need that sort of score, right? So what we're trying to uncover is, can I fix it? Or is it something that must take place? What we are talking about today are objection handlers. It is not your responsibility to turn every person you talk to into a sale. We are not required to make them move.
Right.
It is your responsibility that if they're going to move, that they want to work with you, that they choose for you to be the person. And the value of these is that now you are showing them quickly. People want to be led. People want to take the route of least resistance, and they're making as many judgment calls as quickly as they can. So when they listen to you on the phone, they're determining, do I want to work with this person? Is this somebody I would trust to move subconsciously? Is this someone I would trust to move forward with in this process? Okay.
Let's do a quick exercise, guys, because you know I love you being interactive. So I want you guys to first drop something that comes to mind for past clients, current leads, whatever you want, that is a condition that you faced. I want you to start working through real quick what a condition is and objection. So we're going to start with a condition. Drop a condition you faced through leads and clients. More recent, the better, of course. Drop a condition in the chat. Okay. And
Don't
then
have
what?
savings down payment. Yep.
Yep. And we'll go through some of these. We'll see. One, we'll make sure that you're on the same page. You need to understand what a condition is. For many of you, this is the first time you've ever heard of a condition. For most of you, conditions would still be called objections, right? For most of you. All right. This is great. I love seeing the interaction. So let's go start going through them. And then Nikki, you're just going to say yes or no on whether that's a condition or objection, right? So don't have a savings for a down payment.
Yeah, I'm going to say that offhand. That seems like a condition. Okay. Seems like a condition. We're going to need something, right? If you have $0 to your name, how are we going to pay for inspection reports? What about when we get to closing costs? And even if we can get you an FHA loan with a zero down payment, you're going to need some money at some time. It's just going to be a part of it. So yes, I would say that's a condition. Court hearings, condition. Credit score at a 500. Yes, I would say condition. However, just so y'all know, if somebody tells me they're at like a 550, I personally have that as my number as, with the right amount of work, we could probably get you closer than you think. And so at that point, I would say like we can fix things. That's within a realm that even a lender can start putting things in a simulator and say, you make this payment a few days early, you put $50 extra here, XYZ will get you where you need to be. Let's continue. In a divorce. Yep. So I will tell you that in a divorce, they need 2 months before they execute any purchase. To me, that just sounds like they're waiting, but it is absolutely a condition. But that's something that I wouldn't let somebody go for. If they need a couple of months, then you should be talking to me and meeting with me right now. Foreclosure, got it. Must sell my home first. Absolutely. That's a condition. Perfect. Waiting for probate, condition. I started my job in the last 90 days. That might be an objection. Even starting a job might mean that you're in a place, if you have a down payment, if you have everything sorted out, that may not be a
Also,
reason
if
for us to wait.
some loans, if they're in the same industry, and so it's basically the same job. So good stuff, guys. Keep them coming. We got a couple more, and then
That
we're going to
relief.
move to objections.
Yep, changing jobs. Yeah, changing jobs in the middle of a transition is definitely a pause. We are looking is not a condition. We are looking is not a condition. Okay.
That's an objection. Okay. All right. Now we went through conditions. Do you guys feel at least okay? I've got a base understanding now of what a condition is. Are you kind of starting to understand that? And now we'll go through some objections. I want you guys dropping objections in the chat now. Okay. And remember, I put some on the screen to kind of help you get started as well. These are ones I took from Nikki's calls, from her live calls, some of her YouTube videos as well. So I want you to drop some objections you have in the chat. Love it. And Nikki, you can start firing off of them as they're coming in.
All right, y'all. I'm so excited. This is the part that I've been waiting for just eagerly in my chair all along. So, team, ready? I'm going to do them in order. Okay. I want y'all, especially right now, to be focused on those things you're hearing that are not even getting you to 2 minutes. All right. Focus especially on those things that you're hearing at the beginning that cutting your conversation short. I'm going to start right here at the top. All right. We move. Oh, no kidding. Hey, also, do you ever have somebody say that they never signed up? Does that ever happen to y'all? Never signed up? I never clicked on that. Everybody laughed because yes, that's a part of it. Okay, we're actually going to start on that one because I know how important it is to have our introduction right. If someone is telling you, I did not sign up, that wasn't me, it's because you told them that's what they did. In your intro, you said you requested, you signed up, you were looking on our da-da-da. And so now you presented them with the objection. You said, hey, here's a fast way to get out of this call. Just tell me you didn't do it. So we're going to change that altogether. Your introduction instead should be this. If Robert was my lead, I'd say, hey, Robert, this is Nikki out in Myrtle Beach. That's where I live. Hey, Robert, this is Nikki out in Myrtle Beach. I'm the one who's been sending you listings. I'm double checking to see, are you still looking? I'm the one who's been sending you listings. I'm double checking to see, are you still looking? Notice we've claimed responsibility. That's the same on a home valuation. I'm the one who's been sending you a neighborhood report. I'm the one who's been sending you XYZ. That is a shorter objection because worst case scenario, Robert says, well, I'm not getting it. Great, that's a way shorter fix. I'm not getting it. I haven't gotten it. Gets the response. Oh, that's funny. On my end, it shows it's sending. I'll get that taken care of before the end of the call. Tell me, were you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? And now we're in the intro. Okay. If y'all need me to repeat one, you got to tell me. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to move at the speed of light. But that's how we're going to change our introduction. Okay. Are you all with me here? Let's go to the next one.
Let's go.
Somebody says, I already have a realtor. I already have a realtor is an objection. Ready? I already have a realtor. Here's what you're not going to do. What you're not going to do is ask, Who's the realtor? That's an ego thing. That's a I want to catch you in a lie thing, or I want to know the competition. Neither of those things help you. So we're not going to say that. Okay? When somebody says they already have a realtor, you're going to say this. Oh, you haven't signed anything with anybody yet, have you? In that voice of skepticism. Oh, you haven't signed anything with anybody yet, have you? Because if the answer is no, ethically, you need to know if they've signed or not to be able to continue. All right. So if they say, no, I haven't, here is your second sentence, and you do need both. Your second sentence is to say, okay, would you be open to working with the agent who finds you the place that you want to call home? Okay. Would you be open to working with the agent who finds you the place that you want to call home? That's very difficult for people to say no to. Okay. The moment you have a yes, perfect. Are you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? We're in gear. All right. But I'm going to walk you through the second possible outcome. All right. Sometimes you hear, no, but it's my friend. You ever heard that? It's my friend. It's my cousin. It's my somebody who's relatively close to me. All right. And I'm going to give you the cheat code. Here's what we say. Remember at the beginning, we said we never argue. We never argue. So here's what we'd say. I'd say, okay, Robert, I'm sure that your cousin would agree. I'm sure that your friend would agree. That's my cat, y'all. She's getting excited as well. Can y'all hear her? She's like, this is the good part. Okay. Here's what we say. We say, okay, I'm sure that your friend would agree. This is the largest transaction in most people's lives. And just like if something serious happened with your health, you'd always get a second opinion. I'd love to be that second set of eyes for you. Would you be open to that? Okay, I'm sure that your friend would agree. This is the largest transaction in most people's lives. And just like if something serious happened with your health, you'd always get a second opinion. I'd love to be that second set of eyes for you. Would you be open to that? And one of two things happens here. One, people naturally crumble. They say, yeah, I'm just trying to help them. They're new. Perfect. You survived long enough in the call to hear that. Or they tell you something concrete and they say, well, my cousin helped me with the last 4 homes. They're going to help me with my next 4 homes. Okay, great. Remember, it's our job to uncover if they're going to work with someone that they would choose to work with us. But in this case, now we've basically got they are either signed or 100% committed, right? So if they say they have signed or you know they are 100% committed, here is your final talk track. Yes, Nikki, I've signed. Yes, I'm 100% working with them. Okay. If you ever find that you are not getting the level of expert service that you deserve, I'll send you my information. You would not be the first person to reach back out to me because things didn't go according to plan. My door is always open to you. I hope our paths cross again. Okay. What does not get your number saved is you saying something like, if anything changes, here's my number. You have to give them the metric and be able to cause that shadow of doubt. So we say, okay, if you ever find that you are not getting the level of expert service you deserve, I'll send you my information. You would not be the first person to reach back out to me because things didn't go according to plan. My door is always open to you. I hope our paths cross again.
This is amazing.
I just love us nerding out about our niche.
Oh my gosh. Like,
Yes.
I just want to spend so much time. It's like when I worked with Chris Voss with Never Split the Difference. And it was like when he first started breaking down for me what was actually happening. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so listening to you now, like, they don't even know the things that they're hearing right now. Like the fact that you said you would not be the first. Okay, this is so imperative what she just said. She said, you're not a failure. In fact, it would potentially be normal for this outcome versus I'm failing. Something's wrong with me, and there's embarrassment and there's shame. But when someone goes, oh, no, 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 that's perfectly normal, you go, oh, okay, so it's okay that I'm in this situation. You're giving them permission and tell them it's perfectly acceptable that this outcome might happen. And then you said you're looking forward to it. So it's not an obligation, it's an outcome you want. You want them to reach out again. The door is always open. You welcome them home. They are the prodigal son. You don't really care what went and happened when they were away from home. You just hope that they come back and you will welcome them with open arms. So
Agreed.
powerful. Let's keep going.
And team, just so you know, here's what that text looks like. We get off the phone, I send the text. It says, "Hey Robert, save my number as Nikki Myrtle Beach. This way, even if you forget my name, you know exactly who's going to help you to find a home out here." And I've had people call me back and say, I didn't remember your name, but I saved it as Myrtle Beach. Okay, and get the call again, and that's an extra closing. Awesome.
Woo.
Let's go to the next one. Ready?
Ready.
Oh, y'all, guys. Wow. Okay, beautiful. Okay. So many messages. Oh my God, they're still coming in. Yes, you can be the second opinion. Perfect. Are you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? Is the answer. Can you be? Yeah, it's not considered unethical for you to have somebody save your number, y'all. It is not unethical. I'm not telling them how to get out of their contract. I'm not telling them that they should be getting out of their contract. There is nothing unethical in providing these answers. And I'm a big stickler about those sorts of things. Okay. I am not going to encourage you to take somebody else's clients. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's continue. Here's the next one. Now we're going to get into story sell. I agree. We're going to go from these 2-minute ones and we're going to end with some of the ones that come up later, because some of what y'all are saying, they don't come up in the first 2 minutes. They actually come up later in the conversation, right? But let's continue with the ones that happen at the beginning. When somebody says that they are busy, what do we say, team? I see that in here, but I want to know y'all have the answer. We wrote it down. What do we say? Type it in the chat.
Too.
What's the answer? I'm busy.
Come on, drop it in the
Yeah.
Andrea.
Yeah. Andrea's at the ready. Yep. Well, while I have you, okay, before I let you go, fantastic. Good. That's
there
exactly
we go.
right. Okay.
This is why we said it out loud, to start getting it in your brain that these words belong for you. You should be saying them. It's okay.
Yep. And team, one of the alternatives earlier, because it just came to mind from there. When somebody says that they are not moving, I will ask people, by the way, who say they are not moving, do they tend to be in leases or do they tend to be homeowners? They tend to be homeowners, right? Because people who are in leases assume that they're going to have to move again. So when somebody says, I'm not moving, I'll say, okay, are you one of the lucky few who's in their forever home? And most people chuckle and they're like, well, not forever. Well, if it's not forever, that means you'll have a real estate need. So let's go ahead and talk that out, right? Are you planning on staying local or would you be getting out of town? And we open our conversation from there. Let's go to the next one. Now, here's where we're going to actually switch gears just a little bit. This is going to be some advanced level stuff.
Here we go.
Here's the deal. Whenever somebody tells you they are waiting on the market, they are waiting for interest rates, they are waiting for home prices to go down, this is the part where you're going to be the expert because you have the answer. If you were taking notes, you have the answer. Every version of waiting to you at the beginning means the same thing. They are waiting. That's the back burner response. I'm waiting for interest rates gets the same response as waiting for next year, gets the same response as waiting for prices to come down, waiting for the economy to crash. They all get the exact same response from us. So we say, okay, tell you what, I'll continue to send you listings. I only want to show you what you're interested in. I'll move at your pace. Tell me, are you looking for an investment property or a place for yourself? And I cannot tell you how many people, they just did word association. You said real estate, they said market this, economy this. Okay, great. It may not come up again in the conversation, which is where we're going to go to a little bit of some next level stuff. Team, whenever somebody, there are a few steps I want you to write down. Okay. Number one, when somebody presents you with an objection later in your conversation, you are going to ignore it. Your first step is to ignore it. The truth is, worried about interest rates may not come up again. You may hear the market is bad And now you're on statistic this, historically this, but that's not their real concern. You've just poured gasoline on smoke and you turned it into a whole fire. So instead, you're going to say, okay, write down these three expressions. Okay, I hear you, heard, noted. You're going to pick something that is 1, 2, 3 words, but you're not even going to repeat the objection back. I think that the economy is going to crash. The market's going to come down. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. Okay, I hear you. And you ask another question. If you miss any other steps today, that one thing, you will be like, huh, that never came up again. That's crazy. It did not come up on its own again. Precisely. So that's your first step. Here's your second step. If you're taking notes, second step is to say this. If it is real, it will come up again. If it is real, it will come up again. So your second step, you're still not going to solve it. You're going to put all your disruptive emotions in a box. And instead, when they say it a second time, like I said, I'm waiting for interest rates to come down. I'm pretty sure they're going to, right now, the market, blah, blah. Okay. So your second step is this. Is there anything else besides blank that has you waiting as of now? Is there anything else besides blank that has you waiting as of now? And your next like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 steps are the words anything else. Okay, is there anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Now you successfully will collect their whole list. Their whole list. There are more steps to this, but for the sake of time, I really need y'all to focus on those 2 steps. If you would do that alone, your whole conversation would look different. Okay. Are there any questions on those?
Drop them in the chat if there are. It's so amazing, Nikki, like, because this is the same process that you said earlier about when they say, oh, I'm busy, right? If it comes up again and I really can't, okay, now we have something concrete. Now they've went through the effort. It's stuck in their brain and it's stayed at the front of their thoughts. Okay, this might actually be a real thing now. But we don't assume that because we know that, like we said earlier, most objections are just reflexes. People
Andrea
don't
asked,
even know what they're saying.
agree. And Andrea just said, okay, so first we ignore and then we say, okay. So the ignoring is not to repeat their objection back. Robert says the market is bad. That's where we say, we're ignoring by not repeating it. We don't say, yeah, I know a lot of people think the market, da, da, da. We don't even use the words. So we ignore it by not repeating that objection. And then we acknowledge, quote unquote, with 1 or 2 words. Okay, I hear you. I'll make a note of that. Got it? Understood. Something to that effect. That's it. And then you continue your conversation as though it wasn't said at all. Does that answer your question, Andrea? There's so many squares. So I'm not sure where you are, but
Yeah.
I love that you're participating wherever you are.
I love it. I
Okay.
love it. Okay. So we had a couple more. Oh, I mean, we had lots more. Who am I kidding? Okay. Here's one that I really would love to cover, Nikki, personally. I've actually seen this one. And as a Christian, I have actually struggled with this one myself, being super vulnerable here with you guys. When someone uses their faith as a tool, right, to get out of something. And so they say, the Lord, Andrea actually posted this one. The Lord has told me it's not the right time to make a move, right? Or God said, not this house. Now, listen, I am a Christian, and so I have full reverence for God. But I also know human nature, and I know that 99.9% of the time, they're just using God as an excuse or a defense mechanism that is so powerful, if you will, that most people are like, whoa. So what would be your recommendation? Whether it's back off and stay away, whether it's like, how would you approach something like that? Because it actually comes up frequently. And if anybody here has faith, whether they're Muslim, Christian, whatever, they're going to have religious circles where that might be a common objection.
So there's two things here. Okay. We're going to start on the first one. And I'm going to do my best to say all of these things correctly. All right?
Okay.
We're going to bear with Nikki during this one.
Okay.
So if somebody says that they know it's not the home, they know it's not the home because they have prayed about it, then it is our job to what? We don't argue. We do not argue, right? We never argue. So
Right.
I would encourage you to agree and to do this and say, okay, I completely understand. We'll eliminate this one. For that reason, tell me, what is it about this home that does not make it the right one? And I'm going to use as though they didn't say that for the reason. If they
Mhm.
say it's not the one, perfect. What would your next question be if it wasn't the one? And I would say, what is it about this one that doesn't work? Because that's going to prevent us from seeing more homes that do not align with what they're looking for.
Mm.
Great. Now
Okay.
let's go to the second thing. If they say that they no longer wish to move because they have prayed about it, okay? If they no longer wish to move, this is a motivation question, okay? This is a motivation question. So I say, this is what I actually say. I say, I completely understand. My grandmother is the one of our family to make the prayers, not only on her behalf, but on our behalf too, to make sure that we are doing things in steps that are meaningful. And so, may I ask you this? Is there any reason that had you looking to make the move in the first place? That's my question.
Mm.
Okay. If there was any reason they wanted to move in the first place, that would still be voiced, right? Because the truth is, even if the faith is the reason, what they're saying is, I no longer want to move. Okay, well, what was it that had you wanting to move in the first place is still your original question. So those sorts of things I would say, even though it may feel more touchy or sticky,
Hmm.
whatever your natural question is, you're still hearing different objections. It's just coded, rather, instead of in the market or the economy, it's coded in the faith. And that's okay. The thing, remember, it's not our job to make them move. It is your job to make sure if they are moving that they do it with you. So I hope that is
That's
okay.
powerful. No, I think that's really great. Um, because that's something that I'm very active in my spiritual community, right? Among other Christians in the church. And so this is an objection. Like some people said, I've never had this come up. For me, it's come up so much, right? It's come up so much. And I have to personally, that's the one area where someone starts to say, God said, that I don't have the insight and knowledge, unlike markets and data and historical, like things that I typically rely on that are material, to be able to quickly discern when you're talking to me, Nikki, quickly discern, okay, all of that's not true. So I know that there's something deeper going on here, right? When they say God, I'm like, dang it, that's like a blank check. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that because it doesn't even make sense. Like you're giving me nothing. So we got a couple that want to do role play. Is that what you're saying, Nikki? You can always just talk to me, by the way.
Yeah. No, I was just seeing some people saying we want the role play. We want the role play. And I know we just have a few minutes before we're out. Is that still on the agenda for today?
Well, if we your breakout room role play that we originally were talking about, I know we went through a lot of stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, if anybody wants to stick around right now, we could just jump into a breakout room role play one on one where you guys can just practice some things that you have objections. Andrea, right? The God one. You brought it up. You guys, each of you brought up objections, which means you have something that is immediately like a block for you that you should get in with a partner and work it on. So who wants to do that? Drop yes in the chat. I'll have to manually assign them. So I'm going to drop yes in the chat and I'm going to just start creating breakout rooms. Anybody who needs to go, I respect your time. You need to get out of here, get out of here. No worries. We're always. Yes, Bonnie and Nikki is on YouTube. This call is also recorded on our YouTube too. So if there's anything here you want to see again, we got you covered. I'm going to create a bunch of breakout rooms. If anybody wants to jump into a breakout room again, type yes in the chat so I know, and I have to assign you manually. So I'm
If
gonna
you're,
start. Go ahead.
no worries. I was just going to say, if you're looking for more videos, it's probably best to follow me on Facebook, Nikki Pais. That's stuff from other podcasts and other things will all go to that one place. Just so y'all know. Okay.
Love it. Who else wants to drop yes in the chat? Theron, I think I saw you. Andrea, you guys jumping into breakout rooms? Oh, he said no. Changed.
Every other Wednesday on easydials.com, we do live calls. So if you are interested in listening again and saying, what the heck? And then if you direct message me on Instagram, let's say that this ends and you're thinking to yourself, well, shucks, I remember that one, but I don't remember what it was. No, it's the letter's easy. Direct message me on Facebook. And if you direct message me on Facebook, I will send it to you and say, here's the answer to your objection. It's www.easy, the letters,
We'll
easy.
also make a Facebook post inside the Agent Alliance Facebook group, guys, for you. We'll tag Nikki in it. So you can even just share some of your objections and things that you're going through. So anybody else, last call. We've got 4 or 5 people going to jump into a breakout room. Anybody else want to get in there real quick? Drop yes in the chat so I know we're going to open up the rooms. Once they're open, I don't know how to add people to them again. So this is your chance. Just make sure you drop this in the chat. Going once, going twice. All right. I'm going to send you guys that way. Don't worry, Jessica. I got you already. Okay, you guys should receive them. I love it. So, Nikki, I have to ask you because I just, we're still streaming onto YouTube right now. So I always love to talk a little bit. Um, and then, Jessica, you should have an invite, by the way, to your breakout room. Oh, yeah, I got to unmute you. So, what kind of started you down this journey of objection handling? Because you didn't just take it like an average agent, right? Or an average marketer who's like, yeah, I got to do this because I got to close more deals, right? It wasn't, this is something that became a fuel and a passion and a fire for you, right? So, like, what, what instigated to where you're like, no, I'm going all in on objections. I'm going all in on this craft.
I'm gonna be really sincere with y'all. Before I was in real estate, I had 3 college degrees, and I was working in the service industry, and I was making great money. But I remember thinking, this can't be all that I was working towards. I don't want to work with my back for the rest of my life. And so whenever I started working in inside sales and talking to leads, I was awful. I was awful, right? Talking to people at restaurant tables is different than talking to them on the phone. They're
Mm-hmm.
in a fixed place whenever they enter the restaurant, right? And so instead, the call aspect I was terrible at, but it was the first shot I had at making any real money. It was the first time.
Mm.
And so I remember at the time I was so committed, and I do mean so committed, because in our CRMs it tracks how many calls and emails and texts you do. And what other people in my position had done in 4 years, I did in the first year. And so I truly refused to be outworked at that time. I didn't go in with that mindset. I was just so eager to be able to change my life. And that's why when I tell y'all these are the answers, it's not because I was of the mindset of I'm gonna nail this thing. It was out of pure like hunger that I thought, that I tried. I just kept trying until I realized that response worked the best. That response worked again. That response
Mm-hmm.
works every time. So,
That's so powerful. And I appreciate that you're just being really candid versus, every time I have an agent and they go, I love working with first-time home buyers. Or I ask them, why did you get into real estate? And they go, I just love people. And I'm like, well, just go volunteer.
yeah,
If you love serving people, you don't have to do that in real estate. You could just go volunteer.
yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, it is 10 o'clock. It is that time. Nikki, thank you so much. You are a legend, and we'll bring you back again.
I would love that. Bye,
All
everybody.
right. Bye, Nikki. All right, I'm gonna close all the rooms, bring some of the people back. Guys, I hope you loved having Nikki on the call. No, Misa, don't end the call yet. People are still in the breakout rooms. He's about to end the call. So guys, I really hope you loved having someone like Nikki on. It's absolute gold. She is amazing. Um, Make sure you attend the live calls so you can interact like you did, to have your objections handled live, to have that coaching done live from some of the best in the industry, to get into these breakout rooms where everybody's coming back from. So, yeah, Nikki's one of my favorite in the entire industry. She is absolutely insane. Like, she's amazing. Yeah, so I hope you guys had a blast with that. Everybody coming back from the breakout rooms. Gloria, Jessica, how's the breakout rooms for you guys? Was it good to practice a little bit, actually say it and go through the process? A little scary though, huh? Even in one-on-one. Courtney, Andrea, how was it? Did you get a little bit of role playing in? No, what happened? Was it the baby? The baby was like, "Hey, I'm here. It's my turn." Or was it a technical difficulty? But when Nikki had to take off, she has another call she's going to. You have some unique situations. Well, you know what? Let's have some fun. I'm going to unmute you. Let's hear it. I'm just curious now. This is like,
Okay. And then I want you to please unmute Courtney. So I'm going to be quick. But I
okay.
have clients where I was written into the divorce decree to sell the home, but it was a no. The wife never signed anything because the Lord never told her to sign. She will not move out the house because the Lord has told her not to make a move. She has said that she's fighting for her marriage. However, there is already a signed divorce decree.
Mm.
She is disabled, has no income. He still pays the mortgage because in his name. She will not move because the Lord has told her not to move. I have decided to remove myself from the situation at this point and
Hmm.
to let them know, to let me know when they're ready for a sign. That is, I had no idea of what else to say because she's told me more than once. She's not
Well, I
leaving.
mean, I'll tell you from my personal perspective, right? This is like, I don't know, some sort of like those call-in shows, right? Um, First and foremost is we know if you're a believer, you know what the Bible says. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. That means that you respect the law. It sucks. It's crappy, right? If you ever hear a Christian who says taxes, are immoral and we shouldn't have to pay them, the truth is that, yeah, that's true. And Jesus still said, but that's just a private note for yourself, right? What that means is that someone is disconnected from reality in this moment, and it's very likely they are entirely overwhelmed by their circumstances. Very likely. I can't fix people. I have tried for so long, and it always backfires. So, in my personal opinion, I would be seeking to get them spiritual guidance and spiritual help and an environment that's going to encourage them to work out the spiritual side. Because I don't think if the court order, if all these things are not compelling enough, you are not going to be the solution. Not even close. That is not going to be you. And any moment that you spend there is going to put you in a position to where you're going to be in a vulnerable place, potentially even a dangerous place, physically, mentally, spiritually. You never know how these things go. The Lord told her to tell you to back off. Jesus does not talk that way, guys. That's not how God talks. He tells us to back off. He convicts our hearts when we overextend. Yeah, get away from that. But if you are a believer, pray for her. Definitely. And that is probably, and that's not going to be advice you get from the average guru, but as a Christian, pray for her and gracefully step away because this is someone who needs God's intervention, and whatever will be done, right? Okay? So I think you did the right thing. Okay? Courtney, what you got? I give you the unmute.
So I have someone who it's my partner's family member. They have two properties that are just sitting. They did hire a realtor a few months
When you
ago.
say
Pretty
partner, hold on. That word's very. Are you talking about partner as in like relationship,
No, my
spouse, or
spouse.
business?
Yeah, spouse.
Okay, just making sure. When I hear
Yeah.
partner, I'm like, it has like six definitions now, so I
Right.
don't know which one we're using.
So he has an aunt who did hire a realtor, and pretty much she kind of wiped her hands clean of it because she felt like her time was wasted. And I really want to jump in. I know there's some objections. She uses God a lot and things too. She has two properties that are just sitting. Both properties a family member lived in, but they are no longer with us. One of those properties was inherited by a friend who passed away, and they have yet to put the home in their name, and it has been 16 years. So they are afraid of selling that home because they haven't even put it in their name yet, and they don't want to pay capital gains.
What a mess. Why do people hate themselves? Why do we do
And
this,
they said
right?
that they haven't cleaned out
It's
the
not an insult to
homes.
them, by the way. We all have our things that
Right.
we.
Because God just says it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and so I mean, Nikki made a good point earlier, which is
Mm.
if it's, and someone else said this too as a joke. I think it was Bonnie. She was like, "Did God give you the scripture to back that up with?" The truth is, like, like, God doesn't tell us to disobey the law. God
It's
said,
really just
even
an emotional
that's
attachment.
right. That's
That's
right.
really
That's
what it
right.
is.
There's so much fear that they told you, and they're like, I can't risk doing the right thing. That is really what it boils down to. I believe that the risk of doing the right thing is greater. And so therefore, I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do because I won't take that risk. Now, I think it's very similar to Andrea personally, right? When someone starts to reject the law, just like when you have a client that's racist, okay? Now listen, if there's ignorant racism, that's different, right? There are boys who understand there are differences between men and women, and that unintentionally, without the right understanding, makes them sexist. Not because they even know it. They think that differences also means, oh, that one is above the other, right? So when there's racism because they don't understand what they're doing or saying, okay, I can help those people. Ignorance, you can work with ignorance, right? Most of the clients we work with are ignorant people. They don't know how the process works. They don't know they don't know how money works, credit works, home buying. People who have owned four homes still keep making mistakes, right? So we know we can work with ignorance. What we can't work with is willful ignorance. I will not learn and understand. So if someone says, I'm aware of what the law says to do, and I'm not going to do it, you could turn around and say, listen, from a non real estate perspective, I love this person and I just want to help them mentally. I want to be there for them. I want to support them. But from a business perspective, I'm not going to take time on this. I'm going to go build my business with people who respect the law and work honestly. I'm not saying you couldn't convert them. I'm saying, why do you need to convert them? Not that you can't. You probably could eventually, but how many more people could you serve, honor, and get paid for the same amount of time? You can still love this individual. If you're like, well, they're family or whatever it is, right? You can still do that regardless of real estate, right? Remember what I said earlier, too. If you love people, go volunteer. You know what I mean? Like, go volunteer. That's not an issue. You can still love this person, but I would not be trying to fight them. It's such a mess. Hold on, my wife's calling. That might be, I mean, it's an emergency. I think it was a pocket dial. Because all I heard was, oh, they locked themselves out. you should just call me. It was my fault. I locked them out and I didn't even know it. All right. So yeah, Courtney, that's kind of where I would personally land. Again, you probably could convert them with enough effort and enough time, but I would rather first just support them in the way that God leads me to, brother and sister, right, type of situation, and make sure that I'm doing the things I need to do. If you've got spare time after you've done the work you need to do in your business, sure. If you want to be charitable and donate some business time to them, great. Like that's up to you. But your house has to be in order. You can't go and correct someone else's disorganization, right? Unwilling to follow the steps when you look at your business and go, am I doing the things I'm supposed to be doing? Right. And for most of us, we're very quick to correct others while we didn't do our lead gen. We didn't do our follow up. We didn't do the things we were supposed to do. And then we're looking at someone else being like, that client doesn't even listen to me. Well, you don't even listen to you. Right? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, hopefully that helped. I don't know. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to call it. Jessica, by the way, I know you're a lender, right? Proud of you for being here. Okay. It's a big deal. Lenders are some of the worst at handling objections because they never get trained on it and they never go to training for it. They just think the agent will deal with it or the title company or someone else. But like lenders are so important and such an integral part of what we do. They should be just as good as an agent and handling all the same objections and then some. And that would make, oh my gosh, powerhouse duo. You can imagine just an agent who can handle the objections and a lender who can handle the objections. Woo! Like dynamic duo right there. So I just want to say I'm really proud you're here and you're going to go far with just doing that. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being amazing. See you in the Facebook group and all that stuff, okay? Talk to you later. Misa, you can go ahead and end the call.